All right, it's 2A Tuesday. Let's do some gun stuff. How many times have you heard this one, that red flag laws are going to stop all the mass shooters? Right. These gun laws allow states or jurisdictions to temporarily, literally seize your firearms if a judge thinks that, by the way, a judge you don't get to go in front of. It's a one-sided argument. And that judge deems that you might be a threat. They just take them away. And then you got to go get them back at your own expense. But everywhere they're implemented, it has not reduced shootings. It has failed to prevent the FedEx shooter in Indianapolis and the Buffalo supermarket mass shooter. It also did not stop the nightclub shooting in Colorado Springs and the Maine mass shooter. None of these things. And it became politically unpopular once it was exposed. So gun control advocates turned to a different method. And they went to credit card companies and told them, hey, we just want to put a little code next to you so we can track your gun purchases, even if you're accepting the gun purchases through your credit card firm. Now, the Bruin decision categorically said that the Second Amendment is not a second-class right. So why did these people keep treating it like it was a second-class right? It was such an egregious idea that when the public, obviously like Visa, MasterCard, and all these places, they paused this decision once it went public. Again, gun control groups wanted this to happen so badly to hope that it would, prevent a mass shooting so they could build a database on you and I, because I buy a lot of guns. This is a ridiculous idea. It is bound to happen again unless something is done. So a bill is actually being introduced in Congress to prevent that. West Virginia Congressman Riley Moore is behind this legislation. Congressman, thank you for being a good steward of the Second Amendment. Now, can it get across the finish line?
Well, Carl, thanks so much for having me on. And I do believe it can get across the finish line. And just to be clear, this is my second act in this. So I was previously state treasurer of West Virginia, where I was the first state to pass a bill to prohibit the merchant category code from being implemented in the state of West Virginia. We created a class action there where you could sue and created liability. But because of federal preemption, there's some difficulties here for the states. An interstate commerce clause, if we're going to protect everybody in the country, we have to do this on the federal level. And that is why now, as state treasurer previously, now as the congressman from West Virginia, I do believe that this is a bill that's going to pass. We now have the Senate. This bill had good traction in the House previously, and I appreciate people taking my bill from the state level to the federal level. And now I'm here to take that mantle up as the congressman.
Well, and here's the other thing, too. I fancy myself a constitutional guy. I didn't go to college, didn't finish college, I should say. But I happen to think that, the 10th Amendment's pretty clear. Powers not enumerated by the Constitution fall into the states. But the Second Amendment is there, so it doesn't really give the rights to the states to further regulate this. But California, Colorado, New York, all passing laws, more laws to monitor these firearm purchases. So you would negate that. But they're not going to go silently into the night.
No, by no means will they go silently into the night. And I'm going to call out somebody just specifically on this, and it's Amalgamated Bank in New York. So they're the ones that have been pushing for this, and there is a paper trail on this issue where Senator Elizabeth Warren, I know no shock there, has been calling for this and pushed on Amalgamated Bank to force the credit card companies to adopt this merchant category code that's going to track your purchase of guns and ammunition. Yes. And so now you're going to have financial institutions determining what is too much. Right. What is too much? So now Wells Fargo or a credit card company is going to determine, Visa, MasterCard, whoever that might be, is going to determine, oh, you've purchased too much ammunition. I did ask during this process, I said, is 1,000 rounds a lot of ammunition to you? And asking some of these Democrats, they said, oh, yeah, that sounds like a lot. It's like, that's a weekend, man.
A weekend? Sir, that's before lunch.
Yeah, exactly. And that's none of their business to begin with.
Correct. So, yes, it's America, and you don't have to answer that. But real quick, before I let you go, 30 seconds for this, sir. You have the National Hearing Protection Act, which would allow suppressors to be removed from the NFA, and you have concealed carry reciprocity. I'll be honest, I'm not real thrilled about Mike Johnson right now. He hasn't pushed anything through other than the Lake and Riley Act. Are these happening?
Those are bills that are being worked on right now, and I'm going to be co-sponsors of all those pieces of legislation. I mean, here in West Virginia, I will say, look, we have constitutional carry because it's in the Constitution. So we just conceal carry weapons whenever we want. We just buy them. But yes, having that national reciprocity would be huge. The president's talked about that. Speaker Mike Johnson's talked about that. You're going to see legislation on that, and also hearing protection. As an avid hunter myself, I hope we get that. That's going to be a big help, I think, for all of us out there in the field.
Yeah, I tend to shoot most of my guns suppressed. Connecticut hasn't gotten around to banning those yet. So, Mr. Congressman, West Virginia, Riley Moore, appreciate it, sir.
Thanks so much. God bless.
All right.